Hello, welcome to my channel. Are there aliens today? We will take care of them. Outsiders aren't just about fear-inspired notions or creations like X-Files. There are additionally some baffling signs that are confirmation that they have visited our planet. Here are 9 things that are appeared as proof that outsiders go back and forth to Earth. At the point when the Cold War time frame crested, an enormous and imperceptible article got radar on the Canadian-US outskirt. The weird item showing up on the radar went north sooner or later. It was accentuated that the article showing up on the radar could be a Soviet assault airplane. So as to discover precisely what occurred, Felix Moncla and Robert Wilson took off with the F-89 Scorpion airplane. There was no more news from the pair and the plane. Radar administrators affirmed that the F-89 was in close contact with the puzzling item and vanished close to Lake Superior. Search and salvage endeavors have been propelled for the F-89, yet neither the F-89 nor Felix Moncla and Robert Wilson have been found. The U.S. Flying Corps said something about the occurrence and declared that it had lost contact with the two-team airplane for an obscure explanation. The Air Force offered another expression after this declaration and said the plane collided with Lake Superior. However, the new proclamation didn't make reference to why search and salvage groups couldn't locate the plane. Lake Superior was totally solidified around then. In such a case, a gap in the lake where the plane would arrive on the water layer must be opened. The F-89 Scorpion and its 2 groups are as yet obscure to date. During the 1970s, there was a genuine increment in the quantity of paranormal cases in Minnesota, USA. Yet, none of them pulled in as much consideration as happened to Sheriff Val Johnson. Johnson, who visited with his vehicle for watching on August 26, 1979, saw a splendid light a couple of steps away. The light, a couple of creeps in distance across, stood suspended noticeable all around. Johnson halted his vehicle and needed to take a gander at the light. Abruptly the light began moving toward Johnson and his vehicle, thumping the vehicle and losing it the street. Johnson likewise lost cognizance. A couple of seconds after the fact Johnson recuperated and understood that he was in a jettison close to the street. At the point when he called somebody to request help, he understood that his watch was not laboring for 14 minutes. The secretive light had vanished. The striking piece of this occasion is the physical impacts of what occurred on Johnson. Consumes had happened around Johnson's eye. The copies appeared to have been brought about by serious UV beams. The blown vehicle was additionally vigorously harmed. It is imagined that the main clarification of this incredibly fascinating case might be extraterrestrial life. The Johnson case was intriguing to the point that even in the second season story of the Fargo arrangement, a few scenes from this episode were enlivened. The vehicle Johnson utilized at the hour of the episode is in plain view today in a little exhibition hall in Warren, Minnesota. We are prepared for another chilling case. Experienced pilot Frederick Vallandish was flying over the Bass Strait of Australia. Answered to Melbourne Air Flight Services. The middle, where it passed the evaluation, said there were no other flying articles. Vallandish announced that the article was playing a game with him and couldn't comprehend what it was. Flying item Vallandish's plane started to turn. Vallandish's final words were, "He's strolling around me, this isn't a plane." Nobody saw or knew about Vallandish once more. It proceeded with that it was in the brilliant light of Venus. As indicated by this case, Vallandish saw the stars and Venus you picked, and what you guarantee that you use and see among your own plane. As per Venus, what are the things that produce a very much kept time mind flight impact? The Russian-made Darkmen narrative tells how the marvel of mind flight made by Venus was experienced. I imagined that Vallandish saw. Vallandish and his plane were rarely found. We should talk a tad about outsider advancements. The circular article called The Puzzling Betts Sphere and found by Terry Betts might be the best case of innovation. At some point, Terry Betts and his family meandered through forest, which was devastated by fire. The family observed a very smooth little circle. There was a shape like the letter V on the circle. The Betts family is on the grounds that the globe is a bit of satellite that tumbled to Earth and took them with them. When Terry was playing the guitar, the circle started to tremble like a diapason. After the trembling, Terry chose to probe the circle. The circle caused yell of Terry's pooch crying, and periodically the climate made the circle shake. The globe begins moving sooner or later and it comes back to where it began. The globe's distinction started to spread and entered the news radar of the New York Times. The U.S. Marine Corps and NASA spoke with the Terry family. The circle was brought to a science meeting for the investigation of researchers. Be that as it may, maybe the most crazy piece of the story starts now. No one knows where the baffling Betts sphere is today or what this circle truly is. One of the researchers who examined the circle cautioned everybody not to open the circle. The researcher who led the audit said that it could detonate like a nuclear bomb. There are folds under some lake beds in China, and these caverns are fixed with pipes. The spans of the channels fluctuate considerably. All the more fascinating, the channels are not made by people. Channels that are believed to be in any event 150,000 years of age are incredibly long. 150,000 years back, there was no innovation, for example, dissolving metal and transforming it into a vehicle. Hz. Channels made 148,000 years before Jesus' introduction to the world. Despite everything, stay a riddle. The non-appearance of a hint of human life in the locales where the channels are found additionally convolutes the case. The possibility that the funnels thought to be utilized for water transportation are made by outsiders exceed. Envision that there were outsiders who plunged to the urban communities in old occasions. In such a circumstance, the perspective of human advancements would be incredibly extraordinary. In any case, drawings of some airplane arrival and taking off are remembered for antiquated workmanship, writing and legends. In the event that outsiders have gone to our planet and speak with civic establishments, they more likely than not left some proof for them. In pre-Columbian America, there was a human progress called Quimbaya. During the unearthing stage in the Quimbaya human advancement, archaeologists went over some brilliant figures about animals that don't exist. Notwithstanding, it was resolved that these models were equivalent to current planes today. Airplane figures with wings, tail and skeleton were likewise efficiently great. German analysts, who made the flying model of sculptures, demonstrated that the models can fly. Another airplane model has a place with the ancient Egypt period. The wings of the figures, which look simply like the planes of the Quimbaya civilization, have a lightweight flyer-molded flying creature. Its tail likewise takes after the vertical stabilizer. As in the models in Quimbaya, these drawings were additionally efficiently great. The models in antiquated Egypt, similar to those in Quimbaya, go back to 2,000 years prior. Might it be able to be an occurrence that two distinct civic establishments living in various pieces of the world who don't know about one another accomplish comparative work at comparative occasions? Aluminum is an imperative thing today. Aluminum is utilized in numerous regions, from transportation vehicles to drink bottles, from windows to road lights. So aluminum is a cutting-edge time thing? Possibly, on the off chance that we don't include the aluminum found in Romania that is 250,000 years of age. It is resolved that the 250,000-year-old metal aluminum, which is very much shaped, is created utilizing various materials. In spite of the fact that it was imagined that aluminum was normally shaped before, it has been uncovered that antique aluminum is a piece of an amazingly perplexing machine. 250,000 years back and machines? civic establishments living in various pieces of the world made old space explorer molds just as antiquated airplane models. The most striking instances of these figures are the Eastern models in Japan and the U-Bag lizard in Iraq. Eastern models in Japanese ancient times BC. It goes back to the time of the Jum culture spreading over between 14,000 and 300 years. In this period, where the most established types of stoneware were discovered, Eastern figures were additionally made. Albeit some are thought to have delineated creatures and people, the landmarks of outsiders are obscure. In the Middle East, reptile molded models made by the U-Bag draw consideration. In contrast to Eastern models, designs in U-Bag take after reptiles. In one of the models made by setting a reptile head on the human body, it is plainly observed that the female reptile figure takes care of the reptile puppy. Regardless of whether these models are strict figures or outsiders is obscure. Today, there are UFOs in numerous TV projects, motion pictures and funnies. The UFO Furia made a roof particularly after 1947, when the Roswell UFO incident happened. Be that as it may, UFO tracks are not just remembered for current world creations. There are scenes in the cavern drawings of the Native Americans who delineate an animal wearing a sort of room suit and visiting the clan. Comparative drawings can be found in Collapses Africa, Australia, and Tanzania, and even the world. In the drawing of the Italian painter Ventura Salimbeni's praise of the wine and bread ritual, it isn't recognized what the article is over the cloud. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel and like it.